With a tenor vocal range spanning over 4 octaves, Jonathan Davis is known as one of the most dynamic and unique vocalists in the world of rock and metal. His voice is not just an instrument, it's a mirror of trauma, rage, and a search for identity. Influenced by synth pop, new wave, goth, and extreme metal, Davis has crafted a vocal character unlike anyone else, whether in the 90s or today. Though his personal life has often been overshadowed by tragedy, including struggles with depression and the loss of loved ones, Jonathan Davis continues to stand on stage not as a celebrity, but as a survivor sharing his story through music. He is not only the voice of Korn, but also the voice of those who feel marginalized, hurt, and never truly understood. Jonathan Hausman Davis was born on January 18, 1971, in Bakersfield, California, into a family with a strong artistic background. His father, Ricky Dwayne Davis, was a talented keyboardist who had performed with legendary musicians such as Buck Owens and Frank Zappa. His mother, Holly Marie Chavez, was an actress and professional dancer who also worked in the entertainment industry. However, Jonathan's childhood was far from easy. His parents divorced when he was just 3 years old. He initially lived with his mother, but due to a troubled home environment, he was later raised by his father and stepmother. Unfortunately, his relationship with his stepmother was deeply strained, leaving lasting emotional scars. These painful memories would later influence his music, including the song "Kill You," which he wrote as an emotional release from his past. Jonathan also struggled with health issues from a young age, including severe asthma attacks that required monthly hospitalizations from the age of 3 to 10. As a teenager, he was often bullied for his unconventional appearance, such as wearing eyeliner, and his musical tastes, which leaned heavily toward new wave. These experiences inspired Korn's song "Forget" and led him to tattoo "HIV" on his arm as a provocative statement against the insults he received. At 16, Jonathan began working as a coroner's assistant and later enrolled in a mortuary science program in San Francisco. There, he studied embalming and worked at a funeral home. Although he dropped out after 2 semesters, he continued his work as a professional embalmer in his hometown. In interviews, Jonathan has shared how the job left him with psychological trauma, especially after witnessing the deaths of children and babies due to drug abuse. He later sought therapy to cope with these experiences, which profoundly shaped his worldview. Jonathan's interest in music began in childhood, influenced by his mother's role as a dancer in the musical film Jesus Christ Superstar by Andrew Lloyd Webber. His passion grew when he fell in love with the synth-pop band Duran Duran, especially admiring the voice of lead singer Simon Le Bon. During his teenage years, he immersed himself in 1980s music, listening to bands like Arcadia, Sigue Sputnik, Bauhaus, Depeche Mode, Thompson Twins, Missing Persons, and A Flock of Seagulls. He even identified with the new romantic style and frequently wore makeup, which caused him to be seen as weird at school. In 7th grade, he bought Shout at the Devil and began exploring darker music such as Ministry, Skinny Puppy, and Christian Death. However, it was Pantera's album Vulgar Display of Power that truly inspired him to pursue a career in metal music. Jonathan Davis's musical journey began during high school when he formed his first band called Buck Naked. Although the band only produced 2 demo cassette songs, What I Have Done, which had a new wave vibe, and the romantic-sounding Come With Me, it marked his first step in expressing his musical creativity. At the time, Davis also worked at a mortuary during the day to make ends meet. He would get free haircuts at an art college, where guitarist Ryan Shuck was a student. From that meeting, Davis was invited to join Shuck's band Sex Art, which was formed in 1991. Though initially awkward and unsure of how to use his voice, Davis steadily evolved as a vocalist. The origins of the band Korn can be traced back to the breakup of a group called LAPD, which included James Schaffer, Reginald Arvizu, and David Silveria. After LAPD disbanded, the 3 formed a new project called Creep in early 1993 and began searching for a vocalist with a unique style. They eventually discovered Jonathan Davis, who was still performing with Sex Art at the time. The first meeting occurred when the members of Creep saw Davis perform at a Bakersfield music club. They were immediately struck by his emotional and distinctive vocal style. At first, Davis was hesitant to join because of his ties to Sex Art, but after rehearsing together and recognizing the greater musical potential, he accepted the offer. Brian Welch joined shortly thereafter, and the group solidified its direction. Korn released their first demo album titled Niedermeyer's Mind, which was produced in limited quantities and failed to gain much attention from critics or the public. The demo was primarily promotional and handed out for free at their live shows. In May 1994, Korn began recording their self-titled debut album with producer Ross Robinson. The album received positive reviews and is widely credited with pioneering the nu metal genre. It had a significant influence on bands like Slipknot, Cold Chamber, and Limp Bizkit. The band's breakthrough came when the album was certified gold during their tour and eventually reached double platinum status from the Recording Industry Association of America. Korn released 4 singles from the album: Blind, Chutes and Ladders, Need To, and Clown. Chutes and Ladders even earned a Grammy nomination for Best Metal Performance in 1997. With a growing fan base and an intense touring schedule, Korn returned to the studio in April 1996 to record their second album, which sold 106,000 copies in its first week. The album earned double platinum status in the US, platinum in Australia, and gold in Canada. Korn's popularity continued to rise after joining the Lollapalooza tour in the summer of 1997 alongside Tool. However, the band was forced to pause the tour when guitarist James Schaffer contracted meningitis. Afterward, the band took a break and refocused their efforts, launching their own record label, Elementary Records, managed by Jonathan Davis. Prior to the release of their third album, Follow the Leader, in 1998, Korn faced controversy when a student in Michigan was suspended for wearing a Korn t-shirt. The vice principal labeled their music obscene and inappropriate. In response, a local radio station handed out hundreds of Korn shirts in front of the school, with police even helping distribute them. Korn considered suing the school, but ultimately dropped the idea to protect the band members' privacy. Hit singles like Freak on a Leash and Got the Life became hugely popular and were the first videos to be retired from MTV's Total Request Live due to excessive fan requests. Korn promoted the album with a campaign tour, styled like a political campaign, traveling across the U.S. on a private jet to meet fans and answer their questions in person. The album was a massive success, debuting at #1 on the Billboard 200 with over 268,000 copies sold in the first week. Freak on a Leash won a Grammy for Best Short-Form Music Video and received several MTV Video Music Award nominations. Follow the Leader became Korn's best-selling album, with nearly 10 million copies sold worldwide. In 1998, Korn signed a publishing deal with Warner Chappell Music. At the time, the band hoped to collaborate with Adidas, given their frequent use of the brand's clothing and desire to become official ambassadors. However, Adidas declined, stating their focus was on sports, not music. The opportunity was then seized by Puma, which offered Korn a $500,000 endorsement deal and used their music in commercials. Korn accepted. According to Jonathan Davis, "That was more than Adidas ever did for us. It wasn't about the money, it was about respect." Years later, in 2023, the relationship came full circle when Korn and Adidas officially collaborated, releasing limited edition shoes, signature sportswear, and 90s-themed nostalgic merchandise. In addition to his success with Korn and the release of 14 studio albums, Jonathan Davis pursued a solo career by forming Jonathan Davis and the SFA. The group released 2 live albums, but never completed a studio album. After the death of guitarist Shane Gibson in 2014, the project was disbanded. Davis returned with a proper solo effort in late 2017 under his own name, announcing a tour and the release of the album, Black Labyrinth. The album explored reflective themes such as religion, consumerism, and social apathy. Davis personally contributed instrumentally, playing guitar and keyboard. Jonathan Davis also has a passion for DJing under the stage name JDevil. His interest in the DJ scene began in 1987 during high school. In 2009, he revisited that passion and officially debuted JDevil in 2011 with a performance alongside Infected Mushroom. While very different from Korn's sound, the EDM world gave him a new creative outlet, something Davis considers essential for keeping his artistic spirit alive after decades in metal. From a young age, Davis was fascinated by the bagpipes, a connection tied to his Scottish ancestry through his great-grandmother. He was captivated by the instrument's mournful tone while watching a funeral scene in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, which inspired him to learn how to play. His grandmother gifted him a set of bagpipes, and Davis joined his school's pipe band, even competing in various events across the U.S. This passion made its way into Korn's music, notably in the iconic track Chutes and Ladders, where the intro was recorded as Davis walked away from the microphone, creating a unique sound effect. Though known for incorporating bagpipes, Davis insists on only using them when it truly fits the music, not as a gimmick. Jonathan Davis has experienced a tumultuous journey when it comes to family and romantic relationships. He married his high school sweetheart, Renee Perez, in 1998. From this marriage, they had a son named Nathan, born in 1995. Interestingly, Nathan followed in his father's musical footsteps and is now part of the electronic music duo Hi, I'm Ghost. However, Davis and Renee's relationship didn't last long. They officially divorced in 2000. In 2004, Davis married for the second time to Devin Davis, who was previously known as a model and actress. The couple had two sons together, Pirate and Zeppelin. Unfortunately, their marriage was also fraught with difficulties. In October 2016, Jonathan filed for divorce citing irreconcilable differences. Their relationship deteriorated due to Devin's alleged drug abuse. In early 2018, a judge issued a restraining order preventing Devin from seeing or having custody of the children after Davis stated she was struggling with substance abuse. Tragedy struck Jonathan Davis in rapid succession. On August 17, 2018, Devin was found dead at the age of 39 due to an overdose. Ironically, not long before losing Devin, Jonathan had also suffered the loss of his beloved mother. These two devastating events occurred close together, plunging Davis into a deep period of grief. He has mentioned in interviews that this was one of the lowest points in his life, profoundly impacting his outlook on life, his music, and his role as a father. These tragedies are reflected in many of the lyrics in his solo work, which became an emotional outlet for the pain he endured. Jonathan Davis is estimated to have a net worth of around 45 to 50 million US dollars. This wealth stems from over 3 decades of his career in the music industry, primarily with Korn, which has sold over 40 million albums worldwide. In addition to earnings from album sales and streaming, Davis also generates significant income from world tours, merchandise sales, and his solo projects, including his alter ego as EDM DJ JDevil. He has also formed partnerships with several brands, one of which is Monster Energy. Their collaboration on a custom 1969 Chevrolet Camaro project reflects the fusion of rock lifestyle and extreme automotive culture. This type of partnership helps reinforce Davis's image as an iconic figure in the industry. Outside the world of music, Jonathan Davis also expanded his career into the entertainment industry by making cameo appearances in several films, such as Queen of the Damned, Seeing Other People, and The Still Life, highlighting his versatility as a multi-talented artist. He has also done voice work in animated series and appeared as himself in various TV shows, all of which contribute to his public and financial profile. Jonathan Davis owns luxurious properties that reflect his successful career in music. One of his most notable former homes was located in Malibu, California, a grand Mediterranean-style estate featuring breathtaking ocean views, an infinity pool, and villa-inspired interior design. In addition to being known as the lead vocalist of Korn, Jonathan Davis has a wide range of unique hobbies that reflect his eccentric personality and deep curiosity. In the early 2000s, he collected historical items related to infamous criminal cases, such as a car once owned by Ted Bundy and a clown costume that belonged to John Wayne Gacy. However, in 2005, he decided to part with the entire collection out of concern for his children's future. Davis also has a strong passion for art, particularly dark and unusual forms. His home is filled with artwork from around the world, including ancient Buddha statues, antique crosses from Mexico, and limited edition guitars designed by artist H.R. Giger. He even owns a collection of taxidermy animals, which he acquired during a hunting trip in South Africa. Interestingly, the meat from the hunt was donated to local communities. For Davis, art is not just about visual beauty, it's about the experience and the story behind each piece. Another notable hobby of Jonathan Davis is gaming. He is a self-proclaimed avid gamer who uses video games as an escape from stress, tour exhaustion, and even depression. He began taking gaming more seriously after being diagnosed with ITP, using it as a form of calming mental therapy. Even during busy tour schedules, he makes sure to bring his Xbox One and other consoles to play in buses, hotels, or dressing rooms. Interestingly, Davis prefers lighthearted games such as Toy Story 3, Slime Rancher, and the Lego Batman series. He has named The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker as his all-time favorite game. He's unashamed of his love for kids' games, saying he plays purely for fun, not to show off his skills. In interviews, he has openly stated that he doesn't enjoy competitive games like Fortnite and wishes more games offered easy modes so they could be enjoyed without frustration.